All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Peak to Middle School. My name is Narwhal.
My name is Kyle.
And I am Alec.
Willig has returned for the third time.
3.
Willig is our second most famous guest on the podcast behind Shim.
Yeah, I would say
Shim's probably been on like 5 episodes, maybe
More than
6. Willig is now, you are 2 quarters away from being done with college.
Correct.
How do you feel? You're about to be an adult.
Excited.
Almost a real person.
Yeah, man.
Whole bunch of different emotions. It'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be an adult.
So I've had this question that's been on my notepad for like months, and I figured I could ask Kyle, and him and I could just debate it, but I know for a fact that we wouldn't have an answer. And you're smart. You're substantially smarter than us. So maybe, I would bring it up on this episode. All right. How the fuck do stocks work?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Screw
that.
Okay.
So I was just thinking, like, the other day, I sent it in our Discord, which, by the way, we have a Patreon, so if you guys want to become a patron, we have a Discord where we talk with people. But I messaged and I was like, I get the general idea of stocks and how you can invest in companies and, like, get a certain tiny percentage. And, like, if they do well, you can sell your stocks and make money. But that's the extent of my knowledge on stocks. And, like,
how does the market just crash?
I don't know. And how do, like, there's people that just become millionaires off of it. And it's like, if like a particular guys can study it and like become millionaires, like it can't be like impossible to become like a, what are those people called? Just these
stockbroker.
Or
no,
just an
but
investor.
It's just these,
Successful
there's just
investor.
like these individual guys. Like I know
Who
this
invest
one
their own
guy.
money?
Leo DiCaprio.
No, there's just
Wall
this
Street.
guy that I know, like our family knows him. He just moved there by himself and he just got into stocks. And after like 3 years, he made a couple million and then he moved back. Like,
That's the dream.
how do you,
It's possible.
but do you know anything about stocks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a
He knows everything
I'm
about
a
stocks.
finance
Oh,
major,
yeah,
so I would
yeah.
hope that I know something
you
about
wanna
stocks.
talk to us about it?
Okay, so first of all, yes, it's possible to make a lot of money off of stocks, but even for very well-educated and well-versed people who study stocks and study the different companies and the potential investments, even for those people, it's a risk, right? Like it could pay off or they could lose their money, and they know that.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
All right, so generally the general idea behind stocks, this is a very basic description, okay? So companies are funded by
Wait.
debt
Money.
and equity. right?
Wait, first explain it to us like I'm 5.
Okay.
Like, I just
How many Cheerios does the company have?
Okay. Here, how about this? Your parents give you money to open up a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You can. All right, never mind. I take that back. Your parents don't give you money.
You're right, they never did.
You're opening up your own lemonade stand. Okay. You need money to open it up, right?
Yeah.
You need to pay for the lemons and the sugar and the water and
How
all
much?
that stuff.
Steal some
Like
from mom's purse.
$10.
$20. Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna say $20 to open up a lemonade stand.
Lemonade
Now
stand.
you have options. You can borrow this $20 from a friend, your parents, whoever. You can borrow it. You can take out a loan with that person.
Yeah.
Where they will give you the money up front, and you'll have to pay it back plus interest over time. Right?
Borrow it from mom's purse.
Yeah, you can borrow it from mom's first, but you have to pay it back, or else you go to jail.
Okay.
My mom calls the cops on me. Okay.
Okay.
So
understand.
take it a loan.
So you could take out a loan,
Yeah.
or you could get money from, let's say, your friends. They all throw in some money, and then you give them a portion of the returns that you get from operating the stand.
Okay.
Okay, it's not a perfect
That's
metaphor.
still taking out a loan.
So I'm gonna give
No,
you $5.
so it's different. It's different.
How's that different than a loan?
Okay, I'm going to talk about it in an actual company perspective.
I just
it's
wanted
a
to
little
do
bit
that.
easier. Okay, so you can take out debt, right? You go to the bank, take out a loan, you pay back your monthly interest payments or principal plus interest payments. You have a monthly payment amount that you have to pay, right?
Yeah.
With equity, which is what stocks are, people invest in your company, and so they give you money. They just give you capital by investing in your company, and they get something intangible in return, which is holding a share, right?
Yeah.
There's no tangible asset that you're holding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they give you money and get something that's intangible,
Yeah.
but is roughly is correlated with the success of the company.
Yeah.
Right. Because when a company is doing really well, people will want to buy more of those shares to have ownership.
Yeah.
And then the price will continue to rise. And the more shares that are bought is when the price will increase, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
is there a limit to how many number of shares? Like, is it like after a certain million, it's like, all right,
because they'll keep taking your money though, right?
Well, so you could buy out a company. You could buy 100% of the shares, and you would own the entire company.
Yeah, but like, so how many shares is 100%? Like, what's the number?
Depends on how many are issued. So it's different for different companies.
Oh,
how many they're throwing out there?
But do they at the beginning? Is there like Amazon has X number of shares, and
I'll just buy out Amazon. That's easy.
So okay, so basically, like when you start a company, it's not public, right? It's a private company.
Yeah.
And you can divide up the equity by percentages.
Okay.
Based on that, so let's say the CEO gets 50% ownership.
So John and I are starting a company.
Okay.
50-50.
I get 70, he gets 30.
Well,
okay, sure. 70-30, 50-50, whatever we decide on, right?
Yeah.
You have your initial ownership, right?
Yeah.
So once, throughout operating the company, you might hire other people and give them parts of your equity as well, which would dilute your equity. So it would no longer be 70-30. It'd be 70.
So we hired Jordan for like 2%.
Yeah, or it'd be 60, 25, 15 for whatever, right? So we get equity, right? So you have your debt, which is the loans, and then you have your equity, which is people giving you money to operate your company, and then they take a return.
Yeah.
So that return is paid out in dividends.
Okay.
Which is like after all the operating expenses are taken out, so you have your revenues, and then you take out all your operating expenses, and then that's your net income, right? That's how much profit you earned in that quarter or whatever. Okay, is this making sense?
I took accounting, so this is stuff I learned.
This is a pretty basic like operational bit. Like this is how business works, right?
Yeah, I'm following.
I took econ for a year.
So that difference is your net income. Now, a portion of that net income will go back into the company as retained earnings, and then a portion of it will generally, and some companies don't do this, but generally a portion of that will be paid out as dividends to investors.
To people, all of the
everybody who
shareholders.
owns shares, all shareholders.
So it could be like millions of people.
So it could be millions of people. It could be thousands of people. It could be 3 people, right? Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It could be
and
whatever.
Does that happen when does that happen? Is there like a date when like
the
stock exchange?
It depends. So certain companies
throwing out words.
Wall Street
interest.
So some companies don't even pay out dividends. It's an optional thing. You don't need to.
Well, then why would you want to have shares if you don't?
Because if you think the company is going to perform well, then you would expect their stock price to go up. So these people who make a lot of money on stocks, this dude who made $3 million or whatever it was on stocks, what my guess is he went in and he purchased a lot of shares of low value stocks, and those low value stocks increased in value by a lot. And so what used to be worth $10 is now worth $100. So he just multiplied his money with times 10.
Yeah, that I understand. But why would anyone buy a stock of something that they're not going to get returns in?
Because the return, rather than being paid out, because dividends aren't large payments. Like when you receive dividends, it's a small amount of money. If you hold a lot of stock or a lot of shares, then obviously it'd be more because it's multiplied by the number of shares you have. But it's not like large payments that come from dividends. A lot of the return generally comes from the increase in value of the stock.
So meaning like you're just going to sell it to someone else at some point.
So it's a bet. It's a bet, right? You're betting. You're betting on the success of a company.
That I understand. I don't understand why would I want to own something that I'm not even going to get money from, and then why is someone going to pay even more money? It's like, why are we trading these things if like our only money is just trading them? Why are they even a thing? You know what I mean?
I think what you're asking,
because it is an actual thing. It's not just trading. Like while it's intangible, you're still trading an actual thing.
It still is worth money.
Trading ownership of a company.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, let's say.
So
I'm not going to be a stockbroker, dude.
No.
Wait. I have a question.
Yeah.
So like, would the reason, let's say you bought something for cheap.
Okay.
And then like the company does really well, and the stocks become a lot more valuable.
Yep.
At some point, if the company's just doing well, like why would you sell it? Why wouldn't you just keep hanging on to it? Is it just because like you're trying to like, it's like a risk, like, okay, maybe now
it's like
they're going to start going down, so now I should sell.
That's exactly right. It's speculative, right?
Bitcoin.
No, it totally is. Like think about it. Think about it. Bitcoin at one point was worth nothing, right?
Yeah.
People started getting it, started increasing in value, whatever. And eventually the Bitcoin was worth what, like $12,000 for a single Bitcoin or more than that or something. I don't even remember. But it's worth a crazy amount of money. So the smart people at that time got out. I say smart, but realistically, everyone's taking a bet, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knows if the stock market or if the Bitcoin value is going to continue to increase or if it's going to sharply decrease, plateau, whatever it is, right? So the people who made the right decision got out and sold their Bitcoins for $12,000, $15,000, whatever it was. Some people are like, oh, I think Bitcoin is going to continue to rise. And so they didn't want to miss out. They didn't want to miss out on that potential extra income, right?
Yeah.
Because if you sell too early and it continues to rise, then you're like, shit, I could have held on to it for another 2 months and then made an extra $10,000 or something, right? But so some people stuck with it and then the value just tanked.
Yeah, okay.
And
So
those
then
people,
that's one of my main questions is how can something just like tank all of a sudden? Because like if there's a company like Microsoft, there's very few things that they could do that would just like destroy the company. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So how could it just go from like, how could people just get like fucked over where one day the company just like falls off?
So generally that won't happen for established companies like Microsoft or Amazon or whatever, because it would take a lot more for the value to drop that quickly, especially with such a big company when things move so slowly. But so, okay, are you guys familiar at all? Probably not. Are you familiar at all with bonds?
Nope.
James Bond. Bondage.
Whoa.
No, I'm not.
Not
Okay.
familiar. Explain it to me like I'm five.
Okay, a bond is another type of funding, a way to collect funds, right? To collect capital, to raise funds. It's a fundraising mechanism for companies.
So if James Bond is throwing a fundraiser, he would want bonds.
So sure. If that helps you remember it, then yes.
It does. It really does.
Sure, Kyle.
That's like Michael Scott when he's preparing to give the testimony against Dunder Mifflin.
By the way, guys, this is not like an accounting or a finance show.
No,
at all.
hey, nobody take any advice from what we talk about here today. Even me.
This is not an educational show, but
This is about the most educational we've been, though.
yeah, I had to ask someone who could actually explain it to me.
So bonds are another
Barry Bonds. Sorry. That was just another connection I made. All right.
Okay.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Bonds are another way for companies to raise money. It's kind of like a loan,
Okay.
where the big difference, and you can trade with other companies too, but normal people can buy bonds. So I could go and buy a bond of Microsoft.
Okay.
And so you go and you act as a bank kind of, in that you pay them for the bond. You buy the bond from them, right? So there's some sort of principal value that you pay them.
Okay.
And then they will pay you back with coupon payments over time, which is like an interest payment.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be 5%, and they'll pay you 5% every year for 10 years or whatever.
So
and then at the end of 10 years,
magazine of coupons.
yes, it's exactly like the same kind of coupons that you were thinking of.
Yeah. It's like the
Totally
coupons
the
that like
same.
in elementary school, like box
like
tops.
like
got
a
it.
$1 off of fruit roll-ups type
Right.
of coupons.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why would you do a bond instead of just like getting the stocks
Sounds cooler.
or like
Coupons.
shares? I mean.
Oh, okay. So there's a bunch of different reasons to. So one thing is when you issue new shares, you dilute the old shares because you're spreading the ownership over more people.
Yeah.
And also, whenever you issue new shares, if you issue them at a lower price, the value of all the other shares goes down to that price.
Okay.
So if your stock is currently trading for $60,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to raise capital quickly, so you're trying to sell some shares like quickly, and you can sell it for a lower price. You just need money though.
Yeah.
Then let's say you sell it at $50, then all of your shares are now worth $50. So effectively, you've reduced the value of your company to 5/6 of what it was.
I have a question.
Because the valuation of your company is the cost per share times the amount of shares. That's how much it costs your company is worth, right?
Yeah. Okay.
How did like the stock market just completely crash?
In 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a really complicated answer.
It
but
is.
Explain it to me
explain
like I'm five.
yeah, in terms of like gushers and fruit roll-ups. That's what makes sense for my brain.
I'm getting like some good finance interview practice right now.
Yeah. This is like the kind of interviews, the questions you'll have like at your job
explain
interviews.
it to me like I'm 3, okay?
Yeah. I just feel like for generally the listeners of our show are kind of similar to us. So like we gotta keep it entertaining. You know what I mean? And
so they're like 5-year-olds, is what you're saying.
Quite honestly, if you explained it like we were any older than 5, I don't think either of us would follow.
I hope a 5-year-old isn't listening to this either.
Okay, 2008. It's the financial system is so complex that there's a lot of different factors that caused it. I'll give you like a very brief, like
all right,
a big reason why it happened. So basically what it comes down to is mortgage loans and banks offering. Okay, so
if you can't explain,
you're familiar with mortgages.
You pay that at your house or something.
You pay a mortgage on your house. It's a home loan, is what it is. So it's different from a commercial loan if you were to buy a retail property and then rent it out to retailers, right? It's different from buying a loan for your car. Like a mortgage loan is for your home. Mm-hmm. And generally there's different interest rates and different terms and everything to go along with those loans that are specific to mortgages. So you're familiar with a credit score and what goes into your credit score.
Yeah, it's like if you make your payments on time, you get a good credit score.
Yep. The amount of use that your credit card has or that you use for credit, if you pay your bills on time, like there's a whole bunch of factors that go into your credit score. So basically, in the past, the securitization cutoff was at 620 as a credit FICO score of 620, right?
Is a high credit score good or bad?
High is good. It goes up to 850. 850 is the highest you possibly get.
Yeah. Get that up to
goes down to like,
I have a really good credit score. I know that. Because at one point I had to find my credit score for some reason, and it was like almost perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising. Do you have a credit card?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I've never once had to I've always paid my credit card.
Pay it off immediately. Yeah.
So like you have to have a credit card to have a credit score?
No. You have to have credit, which is different. So okay, so if it, like for example, I have student loans for school right now.
Okay.
I actually don't even have a credit card yet, which, by the way, recommendation to anybody who's like above the age 18, you should just get a credit card. But
I've heard the opposite though. I've heard some people say I heard Mark Cuban said don't get a credit card.
No. You took it out of context. I heard that, but that's not what he meant.
Why?
Mark Cuban said that, but he said it in the context of like when people get credit cards, they buy things they can't afford.
Yeah. You have to use it like a debit
basically
card.
just be smart.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I've heard that, and I actually looked up like why he said that, and he was using it in the context of like if you get a credit card, you're gonna buy things that you can't afford because there's like it gives you like $1,000 limit or like $2,500 limit, and then people can't pay it back.
Yeah. So what it comes down to is being responsible, being smart. Like
that's where I thrive.
It's my skill.
So it's a good call to get a credit card when you're 18. If you wait till you're 19, 20, whatever, that's fine. Just like you want to get it earlier, but you want to treat it like a debit card. So only spend the money that you actually have in your account. Don't spend money and I'm going to get paid in 2 weeks. I'll pay it then.
That's a scary situation.
That's where people get into trouble because then their debt accumulates and like, shit, I can't pay it right now.
That's scary.
It's terrifying, dude. So yeah, it's a good idea to get a credit card because it builds credit history, and then you can make those payments on time. And the more payments you make on time, the higher credit score goes.
And my credit card gives me 2% cash back.
Yeah, there's benefits as well.
Yeah, and it
what
just
does that
adds
mean?
up. So it's like
2%.
If I spend $100,
so you like make money by spending money.
Well,
if you pay your money off,
you're not
save
making
2%.
money. You're just saving. So every time I spend $100, I have $2 that I could get back if I wanted.
Yeah.
Do you get it back?
Well, no, I'm just. My dad is.
Oh, like it saves up.
It saves up, and you can take it.
I see.
My dad said he's left his cash back accumulating his entire career.
Yeah, that's probably
it's just
smart.
like in like a little thing.
It's probably smart.
Okay,
so back to the financial crisis of 2008.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, banks were making mortgage loans like crazy. Like they were giving out loans that they should not be giving out.
Why were they doing that?
Okay, so basically, a little background. I mentioned this a second ago. The securitization cutoff of mortgage loans was 620 historically.
Is that bad?
So 620 is like that's like lower end, but it's not like it's not good. It's not a good credit score, but it's not like awful.
Yeah.
So basically, that was a securitization cutoff. So any loan of that had any borrower who had a credit score of 620 or above, their loans could be securitized, and essentially, oh god, this is a test right now. Essentially, what that means is that those loans could be bundled together and treated as a single asset, right? A single cash flow from all of those different loans.
Okay.
They're securitized into like a bundle, if that makes sense.
Right.
So basically what happens is these bundles of loans were treated as liquid assets, which could be traded like really quickly, even though a mortgage isn't, because if somebody stops paying their mortgage, nobody's going to want to buy it, right? Nobody's going to buy the payments of that mortgage if the payments aren't being made. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So basically they were securitized and treated like liquid assets that could be traded quickly.
Traded to who?
Between people, because you're trading cash flows at that point. So if you make a loan to somebody and they're paying you monthly payments of $100,
yeah,
and then I could pay you to receive those payments. So instead of you receiving them, I give you a lump sum. I pay you an amount, and then I now receive those payments. I own the mortgage.
Okay.
I
think I'm following. Sure, let's just keep going.
This is really hard to explain.
Yeah, no, you
lost me
when I don't have the best understanding, and when you guys don't have any basic understanding.
This is probably better than like if I tried to look this up on like Wikipedia, it'd probably make less sense.
Well, I would have stopped reading.
I'm trying to like use normal human terms, but it's difficult.
Okay.
Basically what it comes down to is banks were making loans that they should not have been making, and a lot of people started defaulting on their loans.
Defaulting meaning what?
Not making the payments.
Okay.
Okay.
What?
I mean, that's a fair question.
I don't know what defaulting means.
That's a fair question.
It sounded like a negative word. So
yeah. Okay. So yeah, people start defaulting on their loans because they got loans when they shouldn't have, right?
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of these loans were also made. What are they called? Stated income mortgage loans. I think that's what they're called. So basically, there was no due diligence required. There's no due diligence.
Kyle just goes, yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'll explain. There's no due diligence required. People would go to the bank and ask for a loan and say, my salary is $150,000 a year.
They could just lie
and they'd get a loan off that.
Oh, fuck that.
So anybody could just say that they're making X amount of money.
I could have got a loan.
Like,
I was 10.
There's risk involved in illegally like lying about your income and stuff. But yeah, people were exaggerating numbers and whatnot. And so people who were getting loans who should not have gotten loans start defaulting on their loans. So then the bank is not making their money back.
Yeah.
So then people get worried and they start withdrawing money from their bank because they're like, okay, the bank isn't making the money back. I want to make sure that I can have my money that's stored there. I don't want it to get stuck in there and then not be able to withdraw.
Word got out that these banks were like losing a bunch of money.
And the banks ran out of money.
So yeah, pretty much.
So all the members of banks just took out like all their savings.
So that's what's called a bank run.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh.
And so people started withdrawing their savings from banks because they were worried that these banks were going to go
But can't you only take out like 10,000 at a time or something? Isn't that like a
from
law?
Like an ATM? But
I
think if you're going to go in there, you can
take all your savings at once in cash.
They also literally don't have all the money that they say they have too.
Like on actual
because that's the thing. Okay, so that's another big issue that was
that's one thing
part of the problem. Banks, their assets, what they make money on, are generally long term. So they have loans or whatnot that pay over 20 years, right?
Yeah.
A long period of time. But their liabilities are cash deposits generally, right? Like people go in and they deposit cash.
Yeah.
Which have very high liquidity. They can come out and withdraw that cash whenever they want.
Yeah.
So the liabilities, what they owe, which is the cash deposits, are much shorter maturities than the money they make. Okay. So they invest the money that you deposit, but that money takes a long time to come back. But then it can be withdrawn instantaneously. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Bro, that's so like complex. Just like
money.
It's crazy.
It is complex. The crazy thing is just that like nobody thought of this. Right, like it wasn't somebody who just thought of this whole system, right?
It's like things just
it's just built off of each other for thousands and thousands of years to eventually come to this point.
But it's just so crazy that the modern like American bank system is like even what it is after just like a couple hundred years. Like, just because there was a point when like you just like had like your gold,
like your vault,
your physical own money, like in like your home or whatever.
Yeah.
And the fact that now like the amount of savings you have is like not even, it's just like a number on a screen.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. I don't know.
I mean, I guess when cash started being printed is when a lot of that changed.
Mm-hmm.
And
we
also
should go back to gold
and like electronic trading and all that. Yeah, so basically what it came down to is people were defaulting on their loans. People got nervous about banks not having liquidity. Everybody went and withdrew their money from the bank. Now, when people withdraw their money from the bank doesn't have money to invest.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, a lot of times they don't even have enough money to pay off everybody who's trying to withdraw.
Yeah.
And so that's when you have a liquidity crisis, when they don't have enough liquidity. They have the value in their assets, but they can't. They don't have. They
can't dish it out.
They can't collect that cash right now. That's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Right.
So that's crazy because they're like spreading themselves so thin, like.
Right. So there's two different ways that a bank can essentially run out of capital. It can be either a liquidity or insolvency. And so insolvency is essentially when the investments that you're making aren't paying you back. You're losing money on your investments.
Yeah.
Versus liquidity, when everyone's just trying to withdraw their money and you have the value. The value is there, but you can't withdraw the cash. You can't get the cash to pay back those people.
Yeah.
So they're both issues. Okay. Now, the good part is that all big banks are insured by the government. And so that's why when you ever hear government bailouts, all this stuff, it's the government injecting cash into these firms.
I never knew what that meant. Okay.
Right. So it's when a bank, for example, is out of liquidity, they can't pay back all the debt holders, the people who withdraw their money there. And so the government will inject cash into the bank so that they can survive, basically. Because when a bank crashes, that spells disaster for the economy, right? Like, and it's happened, and it happened in 2008. There were a couple banks that did, but obviously, that had huge ramifications. So it's a combination of people not being able to pay their mortgages because they were given when they shouldn't have been given, and it's bank runs. And so it's this mob mentality that if everybody else is going to withdraw their money, I could sit back and it might be fine, in which case I get to keep my money in there. I get to continue earning interest on it. It's good. But if everybody withdraws their money and I don't, and they run out of money, then I lose it.
You lose all your money.
And
so if you don't withdraw your money and the bank loses all their money, does the government do anything to get you your money back?
So
like the bank kind of just stole all your savings.
A lot of times, yes. It depends on the bank, but also there's a $250,000 insurance, whatever, for every depositor at certain banks.
Oh,
I don't remember exactly how it always works.
But if you have more than 250,000,
but if I'm like a billionaire, technically, if like I was Bill Gates and I was just at like Wells Fargo, could I be a dick and just say I want to take all of my money and then just ruin the whole bank?
I mean, like, theoretically you could, but the thing is Bill Gates would never invest all of his money or save all of his money in one bank.
Hey, don't
never
sleep.
say never.
Don't sleep.
No, I can assure you that Bill Gates has hundreds of accounts. At least.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, Kyle
but he could ruin every bank.
Well,
he could just take $1 billion out of every bank.
Well, he probably doesn't have that much of his money stored up in savings accounts.
Where does he have it? Oh,
Invested.
just like What if he just pulls all of his money out of everywhere and just destroys the entire U.S. economy? That'd be a baller move.
So with investments, you can't just pull your money out. You have to sell it. You have to sell ownership.
Okay.
So, but with a savings account, you could, and that would definitely not be good if you pulled out $1 billion from a bank.
That'd be kind of funny, though.
It would be kind of funny.
Just like ruins a bank. Like if someone's rude to him, he's like, you know what? I want my $1 billion.
Yeah.
And then he shut down the whole bank.
Yo, Willig, does Bill Gates, Kyle asked me this, do like mega famous people still like go to do they have regular person banks or do they have like special billionaire banks?
Does he go to the DMV?
Like do you think Bill Gates will go to like Wells Fargo if he's a question? Or like
no. First of all, he probably won't have a question.
Yeah, he probably has an
definitely-
answer.
He
But,
definitely has a financial advisor, somebody whose job is literally to manage Bill Gates' money. He
That'd
probably
be a
has
scary
he
job.
probably has a whole team of people who do that on their like.
Imagine being in charge of his billions of dollars.
That'd
Yeah.
dream job.
Now, I'm sure everything that they do has to be approved and like vetted by Bill Gates. But yeah, no, I don't think he walks into a Wells Fargo and casually asks some financial questions. He
I had a
has
question about my savings.
account.
he has like experts who devote their time to
Yeah.
that. So
How much do you think his financial advisors get paid? Like millions of dollars, or like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
definitely hundreds of thousands,
Okay.
probably like multiple hundreds of
Damn,
thousands.
dude.
Imagine
If
being,
I had to guess, I don't know.
I know like it happens with a lot of celebrities and just like rich people where like they'll have financial advisors, but they're just like screwing them over and like stealing their money.
Okay,
I'd be
yeah.
so pissed.
Well, I mean, that's why even if you have a financial advisor, you should probably be like somewhat knowledgeable and be involved and know what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like that would mostly happen with
Like rappers.
yeah, rappers or people who like know nothing about financial.
If I
who are-
won the
who are-
lottery.
who are financially illiterate and also don't take the time to invest themselves in their.
Yeah. Or if it's like
finances.
like a young kid star or something.
Yeah.
But their parents.
Well,
But-
their parents should be involved.
And the other thing is, as a financial advisor, you have a legal, what's called a fiduciary responsibility, which fidouche.
it's like a fedora. It's a douchebag.
A fiduciary responsibility means that this person is legally obliged to act in your best interest.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you have a financial advisor, if you hire a financial advisor, they are legally
can fiduce
obliged
for
to
you?
do the best that they can for your money.
Wow.
Okay. So if it's very obvious that they are screwing you over in some way, then they can literally go to jail or
Remove
get
the
somehow
fidouche.
penalized for that. I don't
So
know.
like
Yeah,
Bill's got
that's
fiducious
Yeah.
out the
Bill's
yin
got
yang.
loads of
Yeah,
fiducious.
he's got plenty of them.
All right.
So there's this new movie that just came out it's an Amazon original called Marriage Story, and it's like nominated for some Golden Globes and stuff, and it has Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren.
Oh, yep.
It's really, really good. I really liked it, and I just watched it last night. But what blew my mind was the whole story is kind of like this couple going through a divorce, and it shows like the ins and outs of like the process of the legal side of getting divorced. And it blew my mind that legally, if one spouse goes to multiple different lawyers, like any lawyer that the spouse consults with about like potentially hiring this lawyer for her case, the other spouse can't use that lawyer. So in the movie, like this isn't that much of a spoiler, sort of. Well, it's not really a spoiler. It's just a little
Spoiler
detail.
alert if you don't want to know.
I guess it's just
yeah.
a little detail, but the wife goes to like 20 different lawyers,
Bitch.
all the best lawyers for these scenarios in LA. And so then when the husband goes to get a lawyer, he's like fucked over and can't get any lawyers.
Damn.
Yeah, but he's
Like
Kylo Ren though, so he just whip out a lightsaber.
You can just
Yeah.
force choke her.
But there's just
Yeah.
like,
He's in court and just
yo, imagine if they did that in the movie. Like the whole movie's normal, then at the very end, he just like starts using
whips
the
out a
force.
lightsaber.
He's a creepy looking dude, man.
Dude, have you seen
Yes.
Black Klansman?
No.
No, is he
Oh,
in
is he
that?
in
Yeah, it's a really good movie. You should watch it. Yeah, he's in it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was so interesting. There's so many like laws about like legal stuff that I didn't even know existed that are like so fascinating to me.
Mhm.
Okay, then another thing. I had another question.
I have another question. Too.
How does someone like? How can you just get so good and be like an individual person that can just like make a killing out of like the stock market? Like, how do you just have to know a bunch of people and like talk with people and hear like the secret insights into the businesses?
insider
and, like,
trading?
Okay, so
Michael
are you
Kendricks.
talking more of like an individual perspective, like as a person you go and invest your own money and make your own
Yeah.
money, not like being a stockbroker?
No,
okay.
I was talking like just like an individual person. Because
So-
there's people that do that.
Yeah.
Is that what Jordan
first of
Belfort
all,
did?
No.
He was like with a company, right?
He did like not really fully legal things.
well,
Well,
and,
that too. But
He like sold penny stocks and basically
He like screwed people over.
overvalued penny stocks to people when he knew that they were worth jack shit.
Yeah.
So he got investments from people and he made a ton of money from commissions.
What a
doing
fadouche.
Yeah, total fadouche.
Actually, not a fadouche at all.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, it takes money to make money that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, because like a good, it depends on what you're investing in, but like if you're making like, so the risk-free rate is the rate given to U.S. Treasury bills. And the reason it's determined to be risk-free is because the U.S. government has never defaulted on a payment.
Okay.
So they've always made their payments on time.
Aren't
So
they
you can,
in debt though? U.S.
yes, but they still make payments.
All right.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you're in debt, I have like if
Yeah,
you have,
yeah,
if you
yeah, you
have
can make
a
payments.
loan, you can still make payments for others.
But they're making payments on that debt.
That's part of their debt.
Well, then like, who
Yeah.
is the whole
They got a
world
lot
in,
of debt, bro.
But like, who's not in debt? Like, are countries not in debt?
I think
There's
some
some
probably
countries that are
aren't.
not
I
in
actually
debt.
don't know.
Because like, if everyone's in debt, then like,
Yeah, how
is
does
there
the
money?
world money work if the entire world's in debt?
we're like
bro?
trillions in debt.
That's where money doesn't make sense to me. If everybody owes more money than the amount of money they have, how does that even make sense?
Bill Gates.
Because they're not going to pay it back because that money doesn't even like exist.
We just have to summon all the
Well,
like
it's because they
the big
owe the money.
billionaires.
They may not have it right now, but they owe it.
But they're not going to ever get that. They're never going to
I mean,
pay
like
all
$1
their
trillion
debt.
is like it's pretty deep.
Well, I mean, the idea, but also when you're a government for a country of 350 million people, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a ton of money. Obviously, it's a huge debt.
Yeah.
so-
Have like Bill Gates donate a little bit.
But like, do you think
Half
the
is-
government, is their goal to like one day like pay it all?
Oh, one day, yeah. But it's just like
That's
the
not
thing
gonna
is,
happen.
That's not like the biggest priority for them, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Ebola.
like yes, debt should be a priority, and we should start paying it off.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take a long time to do, and there are other more pressing issues, I would say.
AIDS.
Nice.
Good one.
Oh, sorry. Is there more you're gonna say?
Well, what did you asked
Well,
about
I
like
was just
how
gonna
people can
how can you
can
just
be
like
so successful in
yeah.
the stock market? Well, yeah. So first, it takes money to make money. So the risk-free rate is like between like 1.5% and 2.5%, depending on the length of the bill or the bond, right? So you make 1.5% a year.
Okay.
So, but that's risk-free because they've never defaulted. You will get paid back. You can be certain. That's what the market uses as a risk-free rate.
Yeah.
Your return is generally correlated with the amount of risk that's involved. So you have to assume that in the market, everybody who's investing is doing their homework and is making sure that is doing the due diligence to see how profitable and how risky these projects are or these companies. So you have to assume that everybody is smart and is making smart decisions.
Yeah.
Tough thing to assume, though.
It is, but at the same time, stupid people generally aren't investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
Generally.
Well.
So but I mean,
Kyle's
you
like,
could
wait
be-
a second, I invested in the stock market.
So that
But-
means I'm smart.
But you could be like, you could take a really dumb risk and make a ton of money. In the stock
Absolutely.
market.
You absolutely could. That's the thing is like,
Yeah.
if you predicted that, I don't know, I can't even think of a company, some small worthless company was going to increase in value and you just bought out, 45% of their stock and then their value quadrupled, then you're going to make a ton of money. But the chance of that happening is really low. There's a lot of risk associated with it.
Shoot a lot of shots and you might make one.
The higher the risk, the higher reward generally, right? So, you need money to make money. So a good return could be anywhere from like 8%, or I mean, it could be lower than that. Like a 5 to 6% is decent for stocks. It could go up to 10 to 15%. Like it could be anywhere in that range. But even so, if it's 10% and you invest $1 million, you make $100,000, which is good.
Yeah.
But you
have to
have
have
a
$1
lot of
million.
risk involved. You have to have $1 million in cash to invest right now. The other thing is, just like anything else, the more time that you spend like looking at stocks and valuing stocks and determining all like working on that stuff, you're gonna get better at it. And it takes a lot of due diligence. It's not generally one person most of the time people don't make their money by just investing it. Like usually that's the type of thing like, oh, you have a good chunk of savings saved up, you can make an extra return on it. Most people aren't going to go and just like take their life savings of $1 million and invest it all.
Hey, you got to risk it to get the biscuit.
Yeah, I mean like it could pay off, but
this is a really dumb question. Okay. Where do you buy stocks at? Is
online generally.
Stock store.
But like I've never once learned any. Is there like
Have you
like
ever searched
the
"Let me
one
buy
in
stock"?
particular website that's like the overarching Google of stocks?
Stock.com.
Okay, so it's not like you just go online and just
just
like add to shopping cart.
Yeah, but why not? That's what I don't understand.
Because you could like
Because
be a
everything,
hacker.
everything is regulated pretty strongly. I don't know, is that the right word?
You gotta go to Wall Street.
There's a lot of regulation in the financial market. So you do it through brokers. Generally, is how you buy stocks.
Okay.
Which means you also have to pay a commission.
So you work personally with like an individual stockbroker, and then he buys them for you.
What if
You
I do it
can buy
myself?
them on your own. I think you can just go to trading platforms like I think you can do it through
Trader Joe's.
Bloomberg.
Shut up. I didn't even hear what he said, and then Willig paused and.
Yeah, Trader Joe's. That's where I get
Is that
my
what they do
stocks. That's where you get your celery stocks.
The trade.
Yeah. In the back, like you like buy food in the front, then in the back it's just like
We are Trader Joe's. We trade.
it's like this really sketchy flea market with like. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a question that will take us off this topic.
Okay.
All right.
So John was claiming recently that Willig has like a great animal voice.
Yeah. So I've never
animal
actually
voice.
told Willig this, but like a month ago or a while ago, Kyle was talking to my sister's dog, and everybody has their own like animal voice.
Oh yeah.
What was mine like?
Yours is just like average. Like most people just have the general animal voice, but
All right.
Willig for some reason has the most like wholesome animal voice I've ever heard in my life. And ever since I met him when he first got like his dog, there's this certain voice that he puts on. I don't even think you know it.
Yeah, it's hard to like.
Probably couldn't even do
he
it right
probably
now.
couldn't even do
Yeah.
it, but like there's just something about it where like I can hear it in my head for the rest of my life. And I'll know it.
I don't
It's like
even
Willig's
know.
animal voice.
It's like the voice I use to talk to animals.
Yeah, and you also have this other voice that's like you know how some people like they'll do something that like other people think is funny, and so they like
Can keep
do
doing
it into they just like do it until it's like not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Like you find something funny, then they do it all the time. And it's like, all right, it's not funny anymore. Well, Willig has these certain things that I don't even know if he realizes how funny they are, but like he'll do them, but like I find them so funny and I want him to do them more, but he doesn't ever do them. Like he rarely ever does them anymore.
Well,
Like
then it would be
voices that
overkill.
I make.
Yeah, like they're these.
I don't really know what you're
So
talking about.
there's
I'm
this
trying to
like
think.
there's this like I can't even try and imitate the voice, but it's like
It's kind of monotone, right? Is that what I'm thinking of?
no, Willig does
It's
this
like
one
a
voice.
sarcastic like.
No, it's like this like it's kind of like a stoner voice, but it's like if you're like a elementary school stoner immature
What?
kid. It's like
Yeah.
no, it's like a
Passively valid.
no, like I can't really. That's the thing is like you just it's one of those things where you can't explain it. But
Yeah.
there's this one. So there's the animal voice, which is pretty easy because most people can relate to that.
Can you give us an animal voice? Like pretend I'm
It's
Charlie.
like-
Oh, he's a good boy. No, I don't.
It's hard.
It's hard to do.
I'm just trying to like I don't know, like pull out a picture of my dog right now.
That sounds.
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh, it's Charlie. Oh. Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what I do
Yeah,
with my
yeah.
voice. I literally can't think about
It's
it.
okay. But my point being, Willig has this one thing that like, if you're trying, it's kind of like when you purposely try and act like stupid just for like one sentence where it's like
Yeah.
that type of vibe. But
Okay.
Willig does this certain thing
But like a
rarely,
stoner.
very, very rarely. And I remember in middle school, he would do it like maybe once a year, and I was always waiting for it to happen because it was so funny and it was so wholesome. And like the thing is like I don't think you realized how funny and like how much I enjoyed it.
Wow.
So to you, it was just like, oh, it's just a voice, and then I'm gonna move on with my day.
It was everything to John.
But to me, it was like
John lived for it.
It was like I lived for that
He
voice.
waited all year. That's why he hung out with you. He just wanted that one joke to crack.
And so I remember like you did it at your apartment one time recently.
Was I there?
I don't know, but like I remember hearing it. I'm like, oh, he did the voice.
Is it like oh God, I don't even know, dude. I'm like trying to think.
See, it's hard. It's hard because I'm putting you on the spot. But next time you do it, I'll like be like, yo, you just did the voice,
Okay.
and then you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
maybe
point it
like
out for
consciously
sure.
realize like, wow.
But that might ruin it though.
No.
See, that's
Then
that's
I'll
the
just start
thing.
doing it all the time,
And then it won't be
Oh,
funny
God.
anymore.
Or he'll be like, be conscious of it, and then like
And then never
it
do
might
it.
change a little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm
No, definitely still tell me though. I want to know what you're talking about.
yeah.
I do too.
But I'm definitely one of those people that like I've said before, I don't personally think I'm very like a funny person.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's more of a laugh at you, not a laugh
Yeah,
with you,
yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
It's like your face. Something about your face.
But I hate you.
Just want to.
But like I said before, I think I'm like a better of like a host personality than like the comedic relief type of personality. But so since I don't feel like I'm like overly funny, and I don't try to be like a funny charismatic persona, that like the few times when I do have something that I realize like, oh my God, people think this is funny,
It's a good feeling.
I just like do it all the time, and I'm the
Oh.
guy that just I ruin it as soon as I
you overkill.
figure it out.
That's
And
no
it's
good.
a bad character trait.
I'll do that, but like almost to annoy people. Like
Yeah.
if I know something is like funny, I'll like keep doing it, and then I can tell you guys are getting tired of it, so then I'll do it even more.
And then it gets to a point where it's like not funny for a long time,
And then it's
but
funny
if,
again.
But if you keep at it, then it gets funny because of how persistent you've been. with it.
Exactly. It's all about just like sticking with it.
Yeah. But the funniest things are when someone does or says something funny, and everybody knows it's funny, but they just kind of like they hide it and they keep it dormant, and then like a month later they'll do it again, and then everybody erupts. You know?
I don't know.
I can't give
Yeah,
like a
I
specific
don't know,
It
concept.
doesn't happen
No,
often.
no,
in my
you know
life.
what I mean? There's like certain things that are just hilarious, but if everybody can like consciously connect and realize that we're not going to just dig this into the ground right now.
So we can't laugh at it.
No, you can laugh at it, but you don't overdo it.
Oh, I see.
You got to stop yourself from laughing. Like a couple pops, and then you're like,
Wait, are you talking more about like the reaction to the joke, or
Yeah, I'm
not
lost.
overdoing the joke?
Not overdoing the joke.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
you can react
All
as
right,
hard
all
as you
right.
want.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can react so hard, Kyle.
Hold on, I'll react hard.
Yeah. But
Okay, so when you're talking about like overusing a joke or whatever, are you talking about like a specific joke, or more just like you're just constantly sarcastic, or constantly like, or are you talking about
guess-
like overusing the same joke?
I mean, generally, I was thinking like a specific joke.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just certain people. What kind of sucks about being funny is like,
Okay. Dude, I'm so funny, and it's like so annoying of like how funny I am.
not like that.
Like everyone laughs. It's
I'm
like,
not,
oh, guys.
I'm not funny, but I'm saying what sucks about a person who is funny is that they could say something and it's hysterical, and someone else could say the exact same thing in the same context at the same timing.
It's the way they say it. Though,
And
too.
it's
the
not funny.
delivery.
I know, but it's like sometimes you can't even tell. Like you could hear two people say something and it might sound almost identical, but there's something like subconscious that we can't even put our finger on that makes it the delivery better. You know what
It's
I
like
mean?
their personality. Have you guys ever tried to retell a joke from like a stand-up show?
Yeah, it's just never funny. It's never funny.
It
dude.
never works.
Yeah.
Like I was watching the Dave Chappelle stand-up, which like the most recent one is just like the funniest
Yeah.
stand-up show I've ever seen. Really funny, and I was trying to retell a joke to one of my friends, and it's just like the delivery just wasn't there. I don't have the comedic timing.
Yeah.
I probably butchered the joke as it is, and retelling jokes like it's not a move most
Yeah.
of the time.
Even just like stories, if something really crazy happened,
Yeah.
there's very few times when I can get someone to actually care about how insane the scenario was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can genuinely be a crazy scenario, but telling it when they're not there, when they weren't there to experience it themselves, it's just it doesn't affect them the same way.
Yeah. And I know that certain comedians actually have like, there's kind of this unspoken thing where like, depending on the comedian, some actually, it's like a cardinal sin to try and retell someone else's joke.
Oh, I believe it.
To like a friend, it's like, you just don't do that, because if you're going to butcher it, it's like disrespecting the original joke, which I get that, because anytime I try and retell a joke, it's not funny anymore. But
yeah, I mean, like from a normal person's perspective, I don't really see why it's a big deal. Like, yeah, you might butcher it and it might not, might not be very funny or have the same effect. But like, I guess from a comedian's perspective, like
they have more rights to it too.
Yeah,
because it's like it's their joke.
Yeah, like it's
don't
all
ruin
about
my joke.
Creativity, right? Like somebody created the joke, and so for another comedian to butcher it is kind of like, make up your own stuff. Don't mess with mine.
Are there like ghostwriters for comedians?
I don't know.
Because whoever that is probably hilarious.
But some of them probably
ghostwriter. If you're a ghostwriter for a comedian, why don't you just become a comedian yourself?
Because maybe not everyone's good at delivery.
Not good on stage.
That's what I'm saying. The delivery is huge. Like,
but
if you watch Dave Chappelle, actually pay attention more consciously about like his timing and everything, and the way he delivers jokes
and like his movement on stage.
It's like perfect. Like it's that. I feel like that's what makes him so funny. Is he just it's like down to an art for him, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like some people, like there are people that can get up there and tell funny jokes, but if they don't do it in the right way, it's not gonna have the same effect.
Yeah. I feel like if you're a writer though, even to think of a funny joke, you have to have like a comedic brain.
Sure.
So generally I feel like if you're funny enough to write a joke that's actually funny, you probably have a certain personality where you could also perform that.
Yeah.
Like I doubt there's any awkward, socially inept people that are writing people's comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
But then maybe they get just like really bad anxiety from
they just don't have a stage presence, right? Like,
or maybe they're too attractive, because like you kind of have to be ugly to be a good comedian.
Dave Chappelle's not ugly.
Only Dave Chappelle. Other than him, dude, everyone's kind of ugly.
No.
Yeah. Give me a hot
Chris
comedian.
D'Elia. Well, he's not hot, but he's not ugly. There's this other guy named Chrissy D, which is different.
Nikki Glazer.
No.
Yeah, she's fucking hot.
All right.
Yeah.
There's lots of hot comedians. It's just that,
but that for every hot comedian, there's
Kevin
like
Hart.
a Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And like
I think there's an equal amount of like weirdo comedians.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah. I think he's lost a bunch of weight, right?
Yeah, he has.
Good for him.
Oh, all right. Probably still ugly.
I mean, fuck, man.
Oh man, he's funny though.
So one thing I wanted to talk about gaming. We were talking about like before we started recording the new COD, and Kyle was asking if he should get it.
Yeah, and then everyone said no because.
No, it's just.
Should I get it? No. You shouldn't.
No, listen. I would like if you had it and played with us.
Yeah.
It's just that I think you would regret spending the money.
Hey,
just
no
because
regrets.
The game is not like in arcadey Modern Warfare 3. It's like it's very more realistic to actual war in the sense that like it's just.
I'm good at war though.
Like it's still incredibly unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's still Call of Duty, but the way it plays is very, very different.
Well, I love realistic games like Fortnite, so
yeah,
like, that's.
exactly.
I mean,
I just would hate for you to spend $60 and then play it like twice.
Aw, that's nice.
What? I'm looking out for you. But what I wanted to talk about was I feel like in gaming nowadays, in most games, I feel like the whole community vibe of like back in middle school when we would get on Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3, or like Halo Reach, or there was just like this community of like where it wasn't competitive and it was like people loved it. It thrived in like private matches, custom games, just like fucking around and like doing goofy shit. But I feel like in a lot of multiplayer games, that whole vibe has just died nowadays. And it makes me really sad because every game that's huge, it's mainly huge because it's like a competitive game. And it makes me sad that there's not that many games where you just hop on with your friends and like you guys all just want to get on and like fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer. Like the new
like Infected.
Yeah, like Infected matches were so fun, and
They
that
actually have that now in the new COD. But
yeah, but like
it's
it's
different.
just like
I know
it wouldn't play the same, and I don't know why that is, and I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit.
I think we grew up in the golden age of gaming.
Yeah.
Like that was the peak of gaming, at least for me, and maybe that's a little bit nostalgia, but I think part of it has to do with streaming, honestly. I think Twitch has just changed the way that games are played, because now everybody and their mother wants to become a streamer and make money off of it. And 1%, if that, probably less, probably 0.1% will actually be successful.
Yeah.
It's like being an athlete. Like,
Yeah.
there's not enough space for that many successful streamers out there, right?
Yeah.
And so now everybody wants to become a streamer. So everyone is investing like a ton of time into these games, and they're not playing them to fuck around and have fun. Yeah, dude, I remember playing like Call of Duty 4 or whatever, like Mike Myers. You just run around and like does nothing to your KD. You're not showing off how good you are. Like
Yeah.
you're literally just doing it to have fun. And that was like the best part of gaming for me, or the days of Halo Reach when we'd, in like 7th grade, we came back from school, or not came back from school. I think it was like in the summer, we would just play Halo Reach for like hours upon hours and like make maps and do custom games and all this fun shit.
Yeah.
But now, for some reason, it seems like it's just turned into everybody trying to be like the best.
Yeah.
Screw that.
And
It's dumb.
I mean, I get that, like, it's a natural progression for everybody to become a better player. Like, back in Call of Duty 4, I didn't even know that people I mean, at the time, there were people making Call of Duty videos, so you could watch gameplay of other people playing a game that you didn't know. But a lot of people didn't even know that existed at the time. And so nowadays, everybody knows that there's streamers you can go watch, and there's people on YouTube that you can go watch that are like insanely good. And so you can watch them and how they play, and it shows you like, oh, I should do this if I want to perform better. And so now everybody, just the overall skill of the average player from Call of Duty 4 to like now is
Crazy.
so different.
Even like when Fortnite started though too, everyone was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now everyone's just like the casual, like I'm bad. And if I was playing when Fortnite started, I would have been like really good.
Yeah, you would have been one of the best players.
yeah.
And it's like that, that bums me out in a way. Like when everybody gets this good at every game that's popular, it kind of ruins it in a way. Because on like Halo, obviously there was a pro scene in Halo, but 99% of the community was like not trying to be good, which made it more fun because everybody was like an equal playing field. And I don't know.
I think the other problem that comes with that too is now, since that is the reality of gaming, companies are making games to support competitive play.
Yeah.
Not just people who want to just hang out and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's like that's, I know the Call of Duty community has been up in arms about a lot of things, but like Call of Duty introduced skill-based matchmaking, right? Where they're going to place you with people who are supposed to be more similarly skilled. In reality, it doesn't seem the system works that well, but it's like they're putting they're designing the game in a way to support competitive play when a lot of people, I think, just want to get on and kind of have fun.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely is a way bigger community now that does want to play competitive, but like they have areas for you to do that. Like they have like league play like systems where you can, if you want, like in Counter-Strike, there's casual category and there's the competitive category, and most people in that game happen to play the competitive category. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't have anything really to say about it in particular. I just wanted to, it just kind of has bummed me out because I feel like gaming as a whole has got like just overall less fun for me in the last like 4 years. I mean, obviously I like Fortnite. I think it's been a really good breath of fresh air, but quite honestly, if Fortnite didn't come out, I don't think I'd be gaming at all.
I
right
wouldn't
now.
either. Yeah.
Like I probably would have sold my Xbox.
Wow.
And like a lot of people play PC games and there's a way bigger variety. There's still on PC, there are like goofy games that you can play with your friends that are like, there's Gary's Mod and like Grand Theft Auto where you can just fuck around still. But like the general person doesn't have a gaming PC. And so I don't know. It was just crazy to me. Like without Fortnite, I probably wouldn't even be gaming right now, honestly. And it's just like sad.
Fortnite saved your gaming life.
And
ruined your real one. Yeah.
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 Your social one.
That's true.
And a lot of people say that like, oh, I think that I grew up in the best generation, or like the music from when I was growing up was the best or whatever. But honestly, like you said, Willig, I think that when we grew up was the best time for gaming.
Yeah,
It's when it wasn't like because the other thing is it's pretty mainstream now, to be honest, right? Like you hear about it in the news. You hear about video games in the news.
They're gonna be in the Olympics.
Yeah, they're gonna be in the Olympics. Like there's like worldwide competitive gaming. Could you remember like when we were in middle school and we were like first started like playing Call of Duty and stuff? Could you imagine if you heard that on the news? You'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't make sense. But now you have like Twitch streamers who are making $10 million a year and like all this crazy stuff, and it's just become so mainstream. And it's like the novelty of it and the idea that it was for a more of a select group of people who wanted to play games versus like everybody.
Yeah,
I feel like kind of made it special.
Do we know what games are going to be in the Olympics?
I have no. I think like probably like Overwatch or something. I don't know.
Overwatch is
League of
really
Legends
big.
or
Maybe CS:GO, maybe League.
What about Fortnite? That I might actually watch. But it's so boring watching them play.
Yeah,
Fortnite has so much.
Yeah, Fortnite has a lot of what they call RNG.
They just turtle,
which is meaning like it's hard to get a fair match of Fortnite because you could land somewhere and you just happen to get shitty guns or no guns and then you die. It doesn't necessarily prove that you're like a worse player.
But what if they set it up so like everyone gets the same guns or something like that?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they could. I'm sure they could make it work, but I think inherently the game, So RNG, like random number generator, basically just the idea of randomness. And like you have a game like Overwatch, like CS:GO, where it's designed to be perfectly even. Like there are rules that apply to both teams, and they both start out with the same stuff, and whatever happens is based off of their actions, not based off of some random chest that gives somebody a gold scar and a chug jug or whatever, and versus another dude who gets a pistol, right? Like there's the randomness involved, so that makes it hard to put on a truly like competitive stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing about gaming that bugs me now, and I think this kind of started with so like I use Reddit a good amount because I just think it's incredibly interesting, and you just find anything and everything on Reddit.
Also incredibly toxic.
Also incredibly toxic. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like you go on, you see these subreddits, and it's just complaining and complaining and complaining. Like for the new Call of Duty, the subreddit, like yes, the game has issues. There are bugs. There are imperfect things about it, but overall, I think it's a fun game. Like I still enjoy playing it. Like there's issues, there's bugs. I lag sometimes and get killed, but who cares? It's Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Like not a big deal. But the community has just gotten so I don't know if entitled is the right word, but it's like now that games can be hot fixed and updated whenever. Like it used to be the game came out and that's what you got.
Yeah, dude.
Right? Like
there was times when like there were no updates at all.
No, no. Like you get the disc, you put the disc in, you don't download anything to your Xbox. It's just that's the game that you have. But now they are constantly updating games, and so the community, from what it seems like, is always expecting a perfect product. Yeah. I'm like, have fun with the game, like play it. If you have complaints about it and it's serious enough to where you don't want to play the game anymore, don't play the game.
And like when Fortnite brought in mechs.
Yeah.
And that sword.
And granted, some things like probably were just bad decisions, and that's fine, but you're not entitled to a perfect game. Yeah. You bought their game.
No, it's a free game.
I didn't even buy it.
A lot of the games are free.
Fortnite, it's free. Yeah. And you're sitting here like, they owe us like better. Like this is stupid. Like all this stuff. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, maybe not the best idea, but like they don't owe you shit. Like you bought or didn't even buy their product. You downloaded their product.
Just stop playing it.
Stop playing it. So that's one thing that bugs me is I feel like in general, gaming communities have gotten far more toxic and entitled. And I'm like, dude,
bunch of entitled nerds.
It's a video game. Like if you don't have fun playing it,
not even real.
Yeah,
this isn't your life. And I guess part of that could be because some people want to become competitive and like make money streaming, doing all that, and they feel that with the game in the way that it is, in the state that it's in right now, they can't do that to the best of their ability. But it's like, no, nobody owes you anything.
Yeah. I know there's so many of the biggest games in the world are Counter-Strike is free now. League of Legends is free. Fortnite is free. Like, if you don't want to play something, just stop playing it. And I also I hate that everybody on, like, Twitter and Reddit is just, like, complaining about how these games are, like, so dog shit and stuff. And it's like, dude, in reality...
It's like some of the best games ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're the best games that have ever been made. And I hate when people in the community will just, like, these keyboard warriors are like, dude, it's so easy. All they need to do is take out this and add this. It's so simple. People just assume that like dude, it's really not. Like, obviously I get what people are saying, that the game objectively would be more fun for most people if this wasn't, let's say, mechs in Fortnite weren't in the game. It's not as simple as just, let's just take it out. There's so much other things that go into it. There's like
coding and shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, not just the technical side, but like there's different people in the business. There's different chains of command. There's maybe it's like maybe they're doing some experiment to see what would happen to the community if they do this versus that. Maybe there's like a sponsorship deal with a different company, like they do these Star Wars
like
related
like
things
Batman
in Fortnite or
yeah.
Batman.
Right.
Maybe they legally have to do these certain things, or like,
or maybe they're just pissed at everybody and so like we're just gonna fuck up the game for like a month and just to piss people off.
Yeah, and people are just like, I see so many YouTubers that like have made their entire living off of like Fortnite or Call of Duty.
Like, just shit on the game.
And then they shit on the game. They're like, it's so fucking easy. Why don't they just take it out? Everybody would like it better. And another thing is like, people say everybody would like the game better if blah, blah, blah. Everybody would like it better if there was no skill-based matchmaking. But you don't know that. There's a lot of people that maybe aren't good that prefer the game with skill-based matchmaking or prefer the game this way. And they're just assuming that because they're in really deep in the gaming scene, like
it's
a big YouTuber, that it's like made for them. And it's like, it's really not. There's like a majority of the people that play it aren't like you.
I unfortunately feel like that's also somewhat a societal problem and not just like the game community.
We're getting big picture here.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I think the younger generations, being a part of one myself, right? Like I'm 21 years old. I'm not old
Gen
by
Z.
any means. No.
Yeah, no.
We're not millennials.
I thought millennials were until 2000.
Nope.
No, we're not millennials. Yeah, we're lumped with the awful Fortnite kids. That's our generation.
1998 to like 2000 something is
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I have been born like
Dude,
2 months earlier?
I know, right?
Exactly.
God, screw those guys.
Yeah.
No, I think in general, a lot of younger people are entitled, and that's why like millennials or Gen Z or whatever get a bunch of shit because they're all entitled. Not all of them. I don't think I am. I think there's a lot of people who are. I don't think you guys are. But Thanks. I think in general, yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think in general, people feel like stuff is owed to them.
Yeah.
When it's not. You are one of 7 billion people on this world. Act like it.
Who do you think knows the most people on Earth? Like the one person that knows the most people,
like personally met people,
or just like knows them like personally. They'd be like, oh,
like
hey,
who can
blank.
name the most people they've met personally?
Yeah, or just I don't know. Maybe they don't necessarily have to name them, but like
well,
who?
What's
like
there
is
a criteria here. We need some
there is a person out here that has relationship with the most people
on the planet.
And there's no way of really knowing that. But like imagine. Like that, there's somebody out there that's like knows more people than anybody.
If you had to guess, what type of person do you think it would be? It'd probably someone who travels for work, who's really someone who's really famous. I would assume. Actually, I don't know, because sometimes famous people isolate themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like someone who travels all the time. What do you think would be their criteria?
Dude, honestly, it's probably somebody who's really involved with giving back in a bunch of different communities.
Oh,
someone that's very well respected, or someone that everyone absolutely hates.
No, but those people
then
wouldn't know them. Like, you wouldn't be able to recall anybody's name if everybody hates you. You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, Tim over there, yeah, he fucking hates me. Okay, you're like, no, that.
But I remember if Tim hated me.
Yeah.
Well,
not if everybody hated you.
Oh, I'd know.
Just keeps a list and
probably
list.
It's probably like a nice person that like does a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah, because I feel like those are the people who would put themselves out there to actually meet other people.
A philanthropist.
Yeah, full on rapist.
Full on rapist.
Yeah, I sometimes have these existential fears of like knowing that. Well, there's the saying like everybody you ever meet will know something you don't, but. And then one of my friends, Jordan, texted me and she was like, it makes me so sad knowing that I'll never be able to read every book in the world.
It makes me so happy.
But just the whole...
Because it makes me so happy I'll never have to read any book in my life.
But the whole idea that like there's knowledge and there's people that
you will not
could potentially be like my closest friend or like the most important person in my life that I just will happen to never cross paths with them is so... like crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean,
man,
you're not gonna be able to experience everything. You're not gonna be able to.
Yeah.
Or you could argue that
whatever you
if
want.
they were important to you, somehow they would have woven themselves into your life.
You
Fate would have it.
have brought
If you
them.
believe in fate, which we talked about on a different episode with Jordan.
Yeah.
I
Do
think.
you guys believe in fate?
I
It
don't remember what I
depends
said.
you consider to be fate.
Depends what I was
Do you
thinking that
believe
day.
in fate in the sense that like
That of predestination, you have some bigger meaning to
Like
each
something's gonna
person
happen.
has some plan,
Meaning
and they're gonna.
well,
gonna
that's
happen.
kind of predestination.
Do you think
Is that
so-
not fate?
That's
every-
different than fate.
Do you think that everything has a purpose?
No.
All right.
Do you
Like some things just are.
do you
Okay.
think that like there's that something could happen no matter what you do, that a certain thing is going to happen in like let's say like you're driving
Are there
and
things
and
that are out of
tree-
your control? Yeah.
like
There's,
if
like,
a
physical
tree
things,
just
like,
falls
I'll
in your
die.
car as you're driving.
Yeah.
Do you think that was fate or that was just like shitty luck?
Shitty luck.
Okay.
I don't they believe in what Final Destination type thing, like, oh, this is, you're gonna die by a tree falling on you, there's nothing you can do about it,
That
like,
would suck.
No,
if
like,
you, if you
Willig got
meet like
crushed by a
your
tree.
if you meet like the love of your life, do you think that that's like
The one
could be
person.
fate? Like it's like the one that you were meant to meet?
so do I believe in a soulmate?
Yeah.
Sure. That's hard because there's so many people that get divorced and then are so happy, like find someone and are so happy with like
I
a
don't
new.
know if I don't think I do. I think I don't think there is one person out of the 7 billion people on this earth that
Yeah.
that is my soulmate.
Because they
I
could be
think- I
living
think
in
there's-
Seattle and you marry him and it's like they really were that person, like the person that's
Really?
living right down the street. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's probably a spectrum of people who you connect with more or less.
Soulmate spectrum.
A soulmate spectrum.
Whoa, I like that.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
SMS.
I don't think there's just one person out there that is your soulmate, and if you don't find them, you're not going to be happy or whatever,
So,
right? Like,
hypothetically, there could be like 100,000 potential soulmates.
I think there probably is.
I'd say less than that.
Wow.
Isn't everybody
Really?
technically a potential soulmate
Well,
until you
no.
start?
True. You guys
until
are
you
still
start-
on my board.
Yeah.
No, but there's certain people
If I ever
that
turn
like
gay.
if you have a list if you have a list of characteristics for what you want in like a significant other,
A certain amount of people will check
Yeah.
some of those things
a
off.
certain
at
amount of
least.
people will check all those boxes, and then it's whether or not you meet them.
And whether or not they like you.
Yeah, that,
Well, yeah.
Because
yeah.
they could completely hate you.
yeah.
They could
I
just,
think
like,
I think it's too complex to be
one
you know,
person.
one person. This is your soulmate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There-
I
there-
I don't generally believe in fate. I think we make our own fate, destiny, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think your actions are what determines what happens. I don't think there's some overarching plan for you and what's
Yeah.
gonna happen to you.
But do you think if you're a good person, good things will happen to you, like karma kind of thing?
I don't believe in some higher power called
Okay.
karma, which if you do good, then the gods will say that good should happen to you. I think generally if you are a more positive person and you treat people with kindness and respect and all that, it will naturally come back to you because other people will be more likely to do that to you.
Yeah.
And how did humans come on this earth?
Whoa, what
Well-
came first?
The chicken or the egg?
God fucked the earth, and then
Oh,
a human sprung up from the ground. That's my
yes.
Man, God had
exactly.
Wow, he fucked a circle.
And then all the
Yeah.
other planets
sphere.
are from
the Mariana Trench.
Oh,
what's that? what, I don't know what that is.
It's just
the
a big ass trench.
deepest part in the ocean.
Oh,
That's where his.
is that the vajayjay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
Mother Earth's JJ.
All right. Well, this episode honestly turned out way different than I ever anticipated.
We had something planned, but we didn't get to it.
Yeah, this episode was supposed to be an entirely different episode, but I'm happy with what
I
resulted.
enjoyed the conversation.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, Willig, do you like being on our podcast?
I
Is
love
fun?
it. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's great. It's always great to sit down and talk.
Yeah, even if it's like about something like other than what we thought, just any natural conversations are so like important nowadays, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Nobody's glued on their phone. Nobody's distracted by other stuff. Just sitting
Yeah,
and
exactly.
talking.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, guys.
Even with my family, like
Breaking it down.
anytime I talk with like my family, even there's always like a TV on in the background or like someone else is there. Like there's a dog running around or some shit. There's like always a distraction. So
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, hopefully you all enjoyed this. There's new episodes every single Monday and Thursday. This I believe is either episode 97 or 98. So pretty soon
getting
we'll
there.
be in to 101, and episode 101 will be the start of season 3 of Peak to Middle School. So there will be new segments. There will be a bunch of new shit. So
If you have any ideas for segments, let us know because we need to come up with them.
yeah, we haven't really thought about them yet.
Haven't-
But anyways, Kyle, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at KyleSafford36, and you can follow the podcast at Pim's Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Willig, do you want people to follow you?
Do
You
wanna be
probably
followed?
don't want to follow me, but if you do, it's Alec Willig on Instagram.
No, there's no underscore. It's just Alec Willig. Is
Is
it Alec
There's
underscore
an
Willig?
under-
I think there's an underscore.
There might be an underscore in there. I was actually just trying to not get anyone to follow me. It is Alec underscore
Nah, I
Willig,
know.
correct.
We know your user
Mine.
better than you do.
You guys can follow me at Hey Narwhal on Twitter and Instagram. You can also subscribe to my personal YouTube channel called The Narwhal. Like I said, there's new episodes every Monday and Thursday. If you guys are on one of the audio streaming platforms, you should check out YouTube sometimes. We have full video versions that accompany every episode. So if you get like chilling with your friends and you're just like baked or like you're drunk and you guys get home and you're like, oh shit, you know what?
Yeah,
we missed the latest Pims episode, dude.
Anyone who's intoxicated, this is a good show.
Yeah. Well, maybe actually this episode was way too intellectual.
You're
This
right.
wasn't
You're right.
intellectual.
This was
This
of
is-
any other episode.
Yeah.
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 If you want to learn about the financial market, I guess.
yeah,
then
this is probably
the one for you.
good episode.
No,
There's
there's
no one
there's
here to
far
learn.
better podcasts
Yeah.
for learning about financial stuff.
Yeah.
There's also nobody here to learn about that.
Point being, our podcast is not the best at anything. So
But it's great
We're
at
the best
everything.
at being. We're the best at being.
we're average at everything. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Peace. Bye.